Braving high winds and 90-plus degree heat in May 2012, a group of investigators mounted an expedition to scout the Sipapu Poop, or Place of Emergence, 3 miles south of the Grand Canyon. A 70-foot travertine dome on the Little Colorado River is said to be the entrance to the underground sanctuary where Pueblo Indian tribes believe we were protected from cataclysmic earth changes in the ancient past. The expedition set out to explore the area and find surviving evidence of this alleged underground city said to be inhabited by the Ant people. The team included archaeoastronomer author Gary David, who inspired the trip out to the rim after identifying unusual features at the confluence. Cryptozoologist J.C. Johnson provided security, and his extensive field experience as a Four Corners guide and Bigfoot hunter. Ron and Darlene provided supplies in a well-equipped mess tent. Ron's professional 30 years of aerospace imaging work and the couple's extensive southwestern petroglyph research. Civil engineer Clifford Mahudi contributed his unique indigenous Zuni Indian perspectives. For decades, Clifford worked at the Bureau of Indian Affairs, coordinating and constructing projects on reservations. A spiritual elder, Cliff is an engineer and expert who has spent years assessing North American sacred site usage. Popular author and world explorer David Atcher Childress and partner Jennifer Bohm joined the expedition. David is one of the go-to experts on the popular History Channel program Ancient Aliens, and has traveled the world visiting megalithic sites and investigating ancient civilizations. David has written extensively about the confluence at the Grand Canyon. The team gathered to discuss the first day's scouting expedition.
Okay, we're pretty close to the road 6120. We're going to head south on 6120 to try to find what's called the Big Reservoir. On Google Earth you can see this stock tank or some big pond or something. And we're going to head off southwest from there about probably over 4 miles to get to the point where the confluence of the Little Colorado comes into the main Colorado River. And there's also an interesting rectangle that's about 1 mile long and 3/4 of a mile wide. It looks like it was made with tire tracks, but it's a completely straight rectangle. And we've got, you can see some almost like a grid system or a number of lines inside this rectangle. And we're thinking it might be some kind of, well, either some kind of Dene project over there, some farming project, or maybe it's older than that. So we're going to check that, and it's flanking the Marble Canyon, you know, right where the confluence is.
And right there at Marble Canyon, where the confluence is, about 2-3 miles north, is where Kincaid found the entrance to the underground city.
It's speculated that in that stretch between the confluence and Quagant Rapids, somewhere on the eastern bank there, the cliffs, is where the cave is supposed to be located, according to a number of authoritative sources. And of course, in the same region where this Little Colorado is, you have the Sipapuni, or the
Sipapu.
Okay, that's where the ancestors came up out of the from the third world to the fourth world, and began to populate the Colorado Plateau.
And what do you have to say about that, JC?
I'm of the opinion we probably still have inhabitants right underneath us.
Sipapu in the Grand Canyon is very important to the southwestern Indian tribes, primarily the Hopi and the Zuni people, because that's our place of emergence after the last catastrophe of the earth, and they stayed in the ground, and this is where they emerged.
This is the furthest west we can get to the rim.
Okay.
And we go up this way, and it's possibly we might be able to hit this road and kind of snake around to here. We're looking for a place on the Google Earth called Big Reservoir, and we think it's over to our left here. That's where the cows are flocking anyway. And the degrees are 36 degrees, 19 minutes north, and 111 degrees and 39 minutes west.
We think we might have found a landmark.
This might be that lake, huh?
Yeah, we think we found a landmark, so we're checking it.
We're gonna go right now over to this other weird structure that we've seen off the road. We identified it too on the Google map. Could be the remains of some old building. Just over here a little bit.
Clifford, what do you think it is?
After the emergence, they did not stay here. They probably made some few structures. It was very temporary at that time. It's very difficult for any civilization to have existed here for a while because each one of them were on a migration route.
How old is this quasi-megalithic site and why was it built? The stones showed no signs of heavy equipment having been used, yet several weigh almost 2 tons. Megalithic site expert David Hatcher-Childress offered his assessment of the structures.
Circular structure here with some pretty big blocks of stone. Limestone, sandstone that's been like flipped up, and these blocks, you can see where they got it. It all kind of came from this shelf right over there, and they somehow broke this up. I mean, it's quasi-megalithic. It's unusual. I'm thinking that somebody did this with like a front loader or a backhoe or something like that. And what they did was they came in here and they were able to break and flip these blocks out. And they came from right around here, mainly this area over here. But it seems like this was a corral. And it's about the walls were maybe, it looks like the walls at one point were around 4, maybe 5 feet high. But I don't know, it seems like it was a corral for sheep, and I think it was made like in the 50s. Yeah, I mean, it's an unusual site.
Through a lot of trouble just to build a sheep pen.
It's weird, yeah, but what else would it have been?
Arriving at the point jutting over the confluence, the team scouted the area and marveled at the scenic beauty. This is undoubtedly one of the planet's most majestic sites and would make a perfect place for an underground earth-change shelter. Does it exist? If so, does the government know about the alleged underground complex? There are indications that the military has already developed the Defense Underground Mapping Satellite Tracking and Ranging System called Dumpster. This is a series of 100 satellites used for mapping underground topology to a depth of 5,000 feet. The team mapped the area and documented the otherworldly beauty of the confluence. .5 miles south of the confluence up the Little Colorado is a location of the fabled Sipapu Poop, or place of emergence. Considered as one of North America's most sacred indigenous sites, this remote location is sacred to the Hopi, Zuni, and other Puebloan peoples, but is under the care and management of the Navajo Nation, who do not hold the area as sacred. Recent attempts by the federal government to take control of the water in the Little Colorado are being challenged by the Hopi. So have attempts to open the area for uranium exploration and mining. A moratorium on mining in the Grand Canyon expires on July 21st, and the Obama administration is under pressure from mining companies to open this sacred area to uranium mining and exploration. The battle lines are being drawn. Meanwhile, the millions of tourists who flock to the developed south rim of the Grand Canyon are completely unaware of the importance of the confluence area to native peoples. What would they say if they knew the United States government may decide to allow mining for uranium, or that the government is attempting to steal life-giving water in the Little Colorado? The team's original idea was to scout out potential locations of the underground city entrance in Sipapu Poop with a remote-controlled helicopter, but high winds made this approach impossible. The team, however, has zeroed in on the approximate location of the entrance below.
So what we're thinking here is that Kincaid's cave, with the so-called Egyptian and Buddhist artifacts, is right along this stretch of the Colorado, right here, just a few miles north of where the Little Colorado River meets the Great Colorado.
And he was coming down and doing work for the Smithsonian. He wasn't directly employed, but doing work for them, kind of like a contract worker. And you know, he...
Now, is this mentioned in any of the Puebloan legends?
Well, it's all part of the underworld legends that the Hopi have.
Okay, this was between third and fourth worlds where they stayed?
Coming up from the third world to the fourth world.
Now, is this possibly where they were cared for by the ant people?
Yeah, the ant people took them into these caverns and taught them how to sprout beans. And now there's a bean dance ceremony in February where they kind of commemorate the role of the ant people in helping them to survive in these caverns during the destruction of the worlds. A couple different worlds were destroyed, one by fire and one by ice, and the ant people took them down into these caves, and you know, it was.
That's interesting. The story of the ant people, how the ant got its narrow waist because the ant people would share their food and cinch their belts up, so to accommodate it. And over a period of time, their abdomen got so shrunk that's why the ants now have this hourglass figures, because of shrinking their belts to accommodate the Hopi.
Yep, they have the hourglass figure just like the constellation Orion, so I think it's all kind of tied in. This area is probably the most sacred spot for the Zuni and the Hopi, you know, of all the areas around in the surrounding area.
This is their Eden, their birthplace.
It's the place they emerged from. You know, they emerged out of the earth and came up to this
raw people.
The raw people, or you know, the mudheads. Something with them is mudheads. And they still have these mudhead kachinas that dance in the plaza.
No, it's possible then that where we walk right now is where Masao was walking, and they could hear his footprints on the ceiling of the cave above them before they emerged.
Well, there's supposed to be a cave further down here. It's Masao's cave. It's an actual location that the Hopi know about, and they kind of steer clear of that cave because Masao is a kind of foreboding, you know, god of the underworld, god of fire, god of death.
Powerful god.
Supposedly, according to the mythology of the Zuni, stayed in there for many years.
Generations, right?
Generations of at that time there were humans. I mean, what were humans? But because of them being in darkness, sort of distorted their way of what a human being looks like.
Yeah, this is the reason why I came here. You know, found this on Google Earth, a rectangle that's a mile this way, and then 3/4 of a mile going that way, and it's a perfect rectangle. And there's also some parallel lines that look like some kind of irrigation ditches, or they go parallel to this road here, and there's another group that goes parallel to this road. So it makes kind of a grid system here. And it might be part of the Dene or Navajo project irrigation. It might be an ancient irrigation system that helped to feed the people that lived in the cave below us.
But yeah, when they oftentimes, you know, when they cut a road, I mean, like I say, I mean, here they just drive a grader or bulldozer.
But like I said, all the roads crisscross. You know, outside this, but here's the one.
Yeah, this one is like, yeah, straight that way, and it does make a corner right here. So
so much being made of December 21st, 2012, end of the Mayan calendar, will this coming time period feature catastrophic earth changes as some of the media would want us to believe? Is this the prophesied end of the Fourth World and the prelude to what the Hopi refer to as Kawanasquatsi, or the time of corruption and chaos? We asked Clifford Mahudi to explain how the Zuni interpret this emerging period in history and to give voice to Zuni concerns for humanity.
There will be certain events that will occur. First of all would be the Mother Earth itself going through the different catastrophes. One of them is the flood, one of them is the wind, earthquakes, and also what will cause that. I mean, the result of that will be people will become in a way of not understanding what is really going on because of the deviation from the protocols that were given by the Creator or the Creator's helpers at that time. And this is where the Star People connection comes into play. Connection is here.
You think Clifford, was it worth coming out here?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah, this is really something, huh?
The connection is here. Yeah. The connection has been made.
It's one of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen. I've been to this canyon almost 200 times, and this rivals above and beyond anything I've ever seen. It's so immediate, you can reach out and touch it. Usually the canyon keeps you at arm's length. You know, if you're on the south and north rim, this keeps you at arm's length.
Yeah, but that's a tourist trap over there.
Yeah, exactly. No tourists being trapped over here. You want to try to get out to that point, and then look down on and see if we can see the Sipapu from there.
Yeah, let's go over there. The road goes over there.
Yeah, you want to do it? Yeah. Try to get out here on this point. This is the second point, I think, right, Gary? Or is that it?
I think this is the second point, and that's the first one I saw.
Uh-huh.
The one with the little, well, this might be a turnaround here.
Well, if there's a road that goes over there, we might be able to look down on the Sipapu.
Yeah, I think it's not far around the around the corner there.
Yeah, that's probably about the halfway point. Man, it is smoking out here.
The team headed toward the top of Salt Canyon, which feeds into a gorge about a half-mile upstream from Sipapu Poop. They quickly found out there are no roads that lead directly to the rim above the place of emergence, and it was difficult to navigate the spider web of four-wheel drive tracks that crisscross the area. They encountered no other vehicles but were buzzed by helicopters as they approached the rim. As they neared the rim, they found evidence of human activity that may be ancient. On small hilltops, they discovered piled rock cairns that may have been used as lookout locations at some point, but the area was devoid of any dwellings, campsites, or signs of permanent activity. They then documented covert aerial activity taking place in and around one of America's most sacred sites, the Sipapu Poop. The team videotaped 5 pickup trucks and a semi parked at the end of the road 6120 at the head of Salt Canyon. This location appeared to be the staging area for helicopter flights carrying large loads down Salt Canyon into the Little Colorado Gorge. This is a no-fly zone. The team had been buzzed by one chopper earlier, and subsequent appeared to be following a new flight path that better hid the craft from our observation point. Had the team stumbled upon some kind of illegal activity, or something even more sinister? What the team witnessed was documented completely by chance. In no uncertain terms, Clifford Mahudi expresses indignation and consternation to the other team members as he watched the violation of this sacred location. Who is behind this potentially illegal flight activity? Why are these flights taking place? What was being ferried down into the gorge?
Navajo reservation, but it's like the Navajos have no connection with only because it's federal land. The Navajo Nation and all reservations are federal land. They don't have to tell anybody anything.
Not the feds are doing it.
The feds are doing it.
Okay, so if it's a private company, they'd have to get permission.
Right. Or park, private company.
Okay, we're seeing some really unusual helicopter activity that seems to be flying from that dead end. They're flying loads low to the ground down into the Little Colorado River Gorge. What do you guys think that they could be up to?
No good.
The videotaping of helicopter loads into the gorge pushed the team into high gear after returning from their 4-day expedition to the rim. Gary David immediately discovered that John Kyle had resurrected the Little Colorado River bill in the Senate. The original bill didn't pass, but the new Senate bill, number 2109, would strip the Navajo and Hopi of their senior water rights to the Little Colorado. Then Gary discovered a bombshell. 1 month prior to their trip, the Navajo Nation had quietly signed a memorandum of understanding to develop a $200 million casino to be constructed right at the same breathtaking promontory the team had just visited at the Confluence. The casino would include a 1.5-mile tramway that would ferry visitors down to the restaurant at the Confluence at the canyon floor. This violates the sacred status of the nearby Sipapu Poop. Further research has exposed the principles involved in this ill-conceived project and the utter disregard shown with respect to Hopi and Zuni involvement. Indian casinos are an important revenue source for Native American tribes, but isn't this going too far? Or could this project be a smokescreen for something far more important? Could it be the government and power elite are preparing this alleged underground city as an escape pod for Y2012K? Are the Star People somehow involved? Often there is more going on than meets the eye. The team will keep you updated as of to developments. Info on who to contact to inquire about the activity will be provided at the conclusion of this video.
Navajos are the ones that are dictating it because that is right on the Navajo reservation. But in order to go through a thorough analysis of it, the other tribes have to be included. In this case, the nearest ones are the Hopi and the Zuni people. But we also have other Indian tribes that are connected with them, including the ones up in the Rio Grande area, and also people that are inside the Grand Canyon, which are the Havasupais, and also the ones that are downstream from this particular place. The Sipapu site is referenced by many Indian tribes as a holy place. So for the Navajo to exclusively say that we're going to allow this to happen, they have to follow the regulations under EPA during the environmental assessment sites before and they have to be approved by those individual tribes.